Hello everyone, my name is Techno, and welcome to the first video in the Minecraft Server plugin tutorial series. These are the types of plugins used on Minecraft servers and featured by big YouTubers such as Dream for games like Minecraft Manhunt and DeathSwap. I'm going to assume for this tutorial that you already have a basic knowledge of Java and its use of variables, functions, objects, and classes. By the end of this tutorial, we are going to create our very own Minecraft Manhunt plugin with configurable settings. If you have any suggestions for future videos, or you want to see something specific, comment it down below, and I'll make sure to respond. Also, any links I allude to in the video will be in the description below. The first thing we need is to get a Java IDE or integrated development environment. I'm going to be using the Eclipse IDE because that's what I'm comfortable with, but whatever you'd like to use is completely alright. You also need to ensure you have the Git bash installed. If you do not, you can do that now. Pause the video. The link will be in the description. The first step is going to be downloading the build tools jar for Spigot. The link for this will also be in the description. We need this for vital libraries required for our project. That can be found here on spigotmc.org at this highlighted link. After downloading, we are going to open our git bash and navigate to the directory where we downloaded the build tools.jar to. In my case, that was the downloads folder. Then we're going to build and unpack the buildtools.jar with the java-jar buildtools.jar command. This will create a working server that can be ran in the git bash command line, and we will use this server to quickly check our work and test new functionality. This is also necessary to get the Spigot API jar file we need for our project. The process will take just a few moments, so while this is working, we're going to move forward to setting up our project in Eclipse. Now we will go into Eclipse or your IDE of choice and create a new Java project. I'm going to call mine Manhunt Plugin. You can do that by going there. But you can name it whatever you'd like. For the location, you can keep it wherever you'd like your project to be stored, but for the execution environment JRE, I recommend the Java SE14 as it has caused me the least amount of problems in the past. The only other thing we need to change is on the next page. We need to add the Spigot library. So we're going to click on Module Path, Add External Jars. We're going to go back to where we downloaded and unpacked the build tools. Go to the Spigot folder, Spigot API, Target, and we want to get this one that says Shaded. We'll click it, add it, and finish. And I'm not going to create a module. For organization purposes, we're going to create a new package called dev.mine.manhunt. We will create a class inside that package and name it Manhunt as well. Now we will make sure that the Manhunt class extends Java plugin, so that would look like this. As you can see, it'll give me an error because we haven't imported the Java plugin from Bucket. If all of that imports correctly and there's no errors, then that's a good way to know that your Spigot API is correctly loaded into your project. Next, we need to add two very important functions to the class that'll be running the whole plugin. These functions are public void onEnable and public void onDisable. OnEnable will run anytime, will run when the server loads the plugin. OnDisable is going to run when the server stops loading the plugin. An example of this would be closing up commands or closing up functions when the server is shutting down, and for onEnable, enabling a command or adding an event listener when the server starts up. The last thing we need to add is a text file to our project source and name it plugin.yml. So we're going to do that by going here and naming it plugin.yml. This file is going to hold most of our plugin information for the server to read and relay back to the players. After creating the file, we need to add a few lines of beginning information so the server can recognize the plugin. These being a name, a main class, a version, an API version, and the commands. We're going to leave commands blank because we don't have any set yet, but we're going to change this to Manhunt. Main is going to turn into whatever we put as our package, dot whatever our main class is. So in my case, it would be dev.min.manhunt.manhunt. For the version, you can just put 1.0 or whatever number you'd like. For the API version, we're going to do 1.16. And the commands, again, we'll just leave that blank. We'll save plugin.yml, and we can begin creation on our development server to put our plugin in and to test with. The first step to creating our development server is to create a new folder. I'm going to call mine dev server. And we need to go into Spigot Server, and we're going to grab target, and we're going to grab this one, Spigot.1.16.4, go back to our dev server and drop it in. If we double click the jar, it's going to create a logs folder and then a eula.txt and server.properties. The only thing we need to do to continue is change the false in eula.txt to true. Then we can start up our server and we will let it start and load the new world so that we can add our plugin. Now that our server is done preparing its spawn area, we can just minimize this for a moment, open our plugins folder, and in here is where we're going to put our plugin. So if we go back to Eclipse, we go File, Export, we're going to choose a jar file, check Manhunt plugin, and then we're going to browse and we're going to make sure to put it in the right place. So I'm putting it in dev server plugins, naming it Minecraft Manhunt.jar. Make sure there's no space in it or the server will not load it correctly, and then we're going to finish. Now we can come back to our server, we can type in a reload, and if we look in here, we'll see that it enabled Manhunt version 1. So to recap, we correctly got our hands on the Spigot API jar, the Spigot server jar. We started an Eclipse project, and we made the bare bones of our plugin. The next video, we're going to be setting up basic commands and event listeners to continue working toward our Manhunt plugin. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, please put them down in the comment. Thank you so much for watching, and have a fantabulous day. Bye. The next tutorial will be coming out tomorrow night, so look out for that.